I have those 2 YouTube videos for creating a generic QuickBooks file for any transportation or trucking company, and that's what I created. This is the file I made with that video, and I've been using it since. Rick, just so you know.
Okay.
I don't even know. You could take that off if you wanted to, make it easier on yourself. Anyway, there's going to be some stuff in here from my previous attempt. Yeah, that's not a bad one there. Now, let's see what we got here. Vendors, which will be our drivers and carriers. Here's one owner op. He's going to show in here as the same as a carrier. I mean,
Right.
You also notice I have multi-currency on, which just so it'll work with Canadian, but most people, we don't want to turn that on. Okay, anyway, let's go back over here. First of all, let's set it up. Now, QuickBooks setup's going to be easy here because I got everything in place. Turn it on. Allow, modify. If a customer's already in QuickBooks, Dr. Dispatch, send it over, whatever. If you change the zip code or mailing address in Dr. Dispatch, this allows that to flow through to QuickBooks. Normally, we never did modify once exported. But I have half of the public wanting to do this, and the other half don't want that happening because they don't want somebody bumping something in DRD and it flows to QuickBooks, meaning a mistake. And then I got there again, the other half of the public, they want this stuff to be corrected. That's what that's for. A lot of people ask. I'm going to leave that off for now. Set up now. We're going to do trucking in this one because we want to do a 1099. I always use this for first connection because we need to grab the company file. This is going to lock up on us right here. Getting ready to do current lock or user as a, and I know that because it froze on the drop down. You see that? Now, we just simply close the setup screen behind QB setup to get rid of that because it's locking the same file. Doesn't happen all the time, but it won't go away till you do that. This grabs the company file, also gives you a first communication with QuickBooks, shows it works, it changed it. Manage, refresh. See what we got here. We got truck freight. And we do have one for fuel. I do like to put a value in every field because if somebody comes back tomorrow and puts a value in a rate screen that under any of these stops and loading, tailgate, anything, it'll error. And this was at a request of the customer. We put this stuff in, and then I found out if we don't fill the values in, somebody puts any amount in unloading or anything else, you get an error. Do not have to do the bottom ones. Save it. Now, driver payroll part. It's either this mode, or this mode. You can send it as a check to be printed or the bill to be paid. Now, big drawback here, 1099 driver pay is going to go over as an amount to be written in a check form, and it's going to be only showing the net pay of the driver. It will not take into account any advances he got, and is not going to give an accurate 1099 amount at the end of the year from QuickBooks. These drivers are going to get a $1,000 check, probably had $1,000 paid to them in advances that won't show here. Got to have an expense account to pay the driver. Probably, hang on, I thought we had one in there for that. In fact, I know we do. Driver accounts. Carrier pay, all right. Hang on. Doesn't matter, I'll put one in here. New expense. Any one should work. Different thing. Hang on here. Well, okay. Driver pay. Get your recording all this. I'll finish it. That's fine. We'll do that. So then, okay. Don't have a bank account. My bank. All right. That will do a refresh. Oh, sorry, my bad. Put that in there. All right. So we have a placeholder, an account that's stored in. Well, we pay them all. We have to have this so we can put in a check. Now, if it's going to do a bill, it wouldn't need but the top one. So we only need that one. This one, we're going to go this way. We want to save it. Classes, I turn off normally. To finish, we go to terms, trucking, whatever. Read terms in, move them over. You don't have to do this, but you do have to have this here. That's where we get the term. If you don't have to have this move to put Dr. Dispatch. You don't have to put, and I suggest you don't put terms on individual customers, but that's what this list would be for when you move it over. But you got to give QuickBooks and Dr. Dispatch a net. You're going me in 30 days. I'm going to owe you in 15 days, whatever. Save that, and we're done. In recap, trucking or brokerage, use currently open file. That's going to grab the file path. It's going to put in the first test of QuickBooks for you. Immediately move to manage. Refresh your accounts. Choose. Make sure you got them all filled in. Skip step 3 for now. Skip on step 4. Uncheck options for classes unless you're using them. And finally, terms, you must have a default, and when I refresh and add them over, I get that. Make sure you do a save, close, and we're ready to go. Now, for payroll, driver, you got to have a 1099 driver. That means he has to be checked as a 1099 on this screen. And I'm trying to see what kind of stuff we've got here. Got to have the check here. The reason I keep saying here is the people come over here. This has to have a check. What people do, where they make their first mistake, they see this and they put a check there. That is not an editable field. You're just, all that is eye candy. I need to make that where it's read only, but it's got to come up and show that. You can't put it into this mode by checking it. It's got to come up like that. You can't have this and check it. If this comes up this way, it's not going to go into this batch. You'll have to start back over here on the driver tab to get that done. Now, we go back to Mr. Griswold. We have a couple of loads here. Now, I probably have no advances. Well, we do. Let's go ahead and finish this one out. This is why and you got to tab through, get that total on all of our advanced screen. Got to do that. I'm going to deduct this, and this is exactly why the 1099 amount in QuickBooks will be wrong, because when we calculate that, we got a gross pay of $2,200. We took 5 because he already got paid that, and we only owe him 17. That's what's going to go to QuickBooks. That's what needs to be the total for the 1099. Now, we have this as the almighty workaround for that. You're going to get your data and your 1099s by date range right here. Okay, so let's go ahead and make sure we got nothing in the batch, okay? So we calculate, we print and process, 2 loads, 1 advance, payroll totals, print it, close it, say yes, and now you're going to have one in here to send to QuickBooks. That easy. Now, this is where the settlement numbers go. But you should be able to double click this and see both loads and the advance. Now we got the summary now.
Okay.
For the year to date. This here, the reason I want this to be obviously perfectly, settlement number 10 goes in the check memo. This is a perfect tie back to the loads and whatnot that were in that settlement, so they can tell what was in it. How did they come up with $1,700? What was involved? How many loads? How many advances? All that's in the settlement. Go ahead and try and send this over for Mr. Griswold. Okay, going over, you print it. Just like invoicing, yes, it went. I'm done. Come back over to here. look at your check register, and there's your paycheck right there. Settlement 0 went into the account, piece of cake, and that's the way it works. Now, if we went it the other way and put it in as a bill, then the user would have to come over here after he's done with payroll, and he would have to, well, of course, he would enter the bills, and then you would have to do this and pay your drivers. Now, that's an extra step. Most people are, and I put this out here for over a year or about a year to see how everybody was going to go. Were they going to go with printing a check? Or are they going to go with a bill? Because we've still got this 1099 amount problem at the end of the year. Well, almost every soul, in fact, every soul I know of, went with print a check. That means if I make it where it goes in as a bill, and the advances go over as credit, it's an extra step, but this is what we run into. You have the lesser of the two evils. You get your 1099 amounts here and don't worry about it, leave it alone, or do we change it where we can send it over as a bill? They'll check what they're going to do, apply any credits, which would be the advances here. And I want you to know that we can do QuickBooks has a preference for bills where you can automatically apply discounts and credits and stuff, which makes it where they don't have to catch it. In other words, if a driver borrowed $500 and you're going to show the full $2,000 here, and the $500 would be a credit here, and if you don't set them, it's not going to deduct it, and you're going to pay him that $500 advance back again because you didn't take it out of his paycheck. So a lot of reasons we don't have the bill credit thing going yet, and I'm not getting anybody really saying they want to do the extra work to do it this way, but we'll see what happens down the road. I don't know. But in a nutshell, that's all there is to it.